As you know, I get along very well with Putin. I would tell Putin, gotta settle. I would tell Zelensky, you gotta settle. I would tell one, you're gonna load up with money. I'd tell the other, you're not gonna get any money. I would get a settlement in 24 hours.
Ex-President Donald Trump sounds pretty convincing. He'll tell Zelensky if he doesn't settle, then he won't get any money. And he'll tell Putin if he doesn't settle, then Zelensky will get more money. Some mindless people in America think Russia is betting on Trump's victory with the expectation that the newly elected American leader will block all American aid to Ukraine and the conflict will end in early 2025 when Trump takes office. However, there's no way on God's earth, even if Trump becomes president, will ensure a 24-hour settlement between Putin and Zelensky. It's virtually impossible. Even if President Donald Trump wasn't a puppet of the deep state, and we all know he very much is. NATO is expanding towards Russia to reach the gas, oil, coal and iron owned by Russia to occupy Russia. This is very clear. Officials from Russia spoke to me about this matter and told me that they know this goal. They know the real goal of NATO. It's to occupy the oil, coal, gas, iron and gold mines that exist in Russia, in the Caucasus, but they don't exist in NATO countries, so they want to occupy them. You must be vigilant whether I will be alive or someone else will come after me. In any case, this speech is now recorded. If NATO came to occupy Libya, we could all be martyrs unless we had national protection. The entire Arab nation should be united by a military force that regards an attack on Libya as an attack on all Arabs. Don't be like America. America is now killing itself. They're happy that they're butchering themselves by spending on fleets, military bases, aid, bribes, monopolies and dark money everywhere, and the hour has come when America collapses as the Soviet Union collapsed. Russia today is the main obstacle for the West. They want to disintegrate it, break it up into pieces. So whether Biden gets re-elected or Trump gets in, America will continue to supply Ukraine in the hope to break Russia. I reckon if Trump wins, then the Biden regime in its final days in the White House will authorize several large-scale packages of military assistance to Ukraine for future use. And of course, many European countries will continue to send military aid to Ukraine, so I don't think this war will end just by getting Donald Trump in office. It's all nonsense. The thing you have to know is Ukraine can't survive without American assistance. It's a little like the Afghan army, which collapsed as soon as the Americans pulled out of Kabul. And that's exactly what will happen to Ukraine if America stops its military aid packages. Having said that, I do think if Trump does get elected, then Russian victory in Ukraine will become significantly closer. You see folks, there's two fronts on this planet, always has been. One front is the front of the Islamic and Orthodox Christian system, the system of values. The other front is the deceptive front that calls itself liberal democracy. But actually, in reality, it's neither liberal nor democratic. If it was liberal, why did they colonize others? Look at the damage they've done to Africa, for instance. What kind of liberals were they? What kind of freedom seekers were they? What kind of free thinkers were they when they colonized a country such as India that had a population in its millions and took control of it for over 100 years? They siphoned off India's assets and turned India into a poor nation. Or the French, for example, in Algeria. They committed crimes and murdered people for over 100 years. And of course, yes, what I'm talking about did happen to India over 100 years ago and to Algeria only 60 to 70 years ago. But the governments who committed those crimes in Algeria and India at that time have the same nature today. They have not changed their faces. Don't be fooled. Today, they're willing to push the poor and the helpless nation of Ukraine forward to fill the pockets of American arms-producing companies. That's exactly what's happening. This is the case in Ukraine. The Ukrainians fight and get killed so that weapons can be sold, so that Europe is forced to buy their weapons, so the arms producing companies can produce and sell weapons and fill their pockets. Islam opposes arrogance, opposes colonialism, and opposes interference in interests of all nations. Of course, we hope the issue of Ukraine is resolved, but I can't see that happening, especially when the so-called liberal democracies of the world continue to colonize, continue to use the helpless, the poor and destitute to fight wars, and continue to sell their weapons. Thanks for listening to the Independent Islamic Republic. Assalamu alaikum, Kush Ahmadid. Have a wonderful night.